Oh, interesting. Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa. Today is November 3rd, 2025, a day before Election Day. This is episode 150. I was away for, I don't know, 10 days. I'm back. Should be back for a little while. We'll get a couple more of these out, of course. Programming. If you're new to this channel, again, my name is John A. Costa, middle initial A. And this is a conservative based program, but I do take facts and I do express some opinions on Democrats and what's going on inside the Democratic Party. Just adjusting some levels here. I wasn't happy with it. Now I'm happy. Um, I'm going to jump right into it. Today's episode will be, of course, my Donnie in New York City. The Democrats seem enthusiastic about their choices. Of course, they're still using the fake word of democracy in a lot of their fights. Kane about the shutdown. That's Senator Kane out of Virginia. Probably, well, I wouldn't say he is the stupidest senator, but he's up there with them. Trump administration is accusing SNAP of a lot of widespread misuse by the receivers of SNAP. Again, the shutdown continues. Some people were arrested in Detroit on terrorism plots. We'll talk about that. Maryland election, Jay Jones running for the Virginia Attorney General, his chances against Jason Mayaris, a Republican incumbent. The New Jersey governor election, Miki Sherrill and Jack Sarah Telly? Yeah, close enough. And what's going to happen there? What I think is going to happen, who knows? But well, with New York, I'll just wrote I'll read what I wrote. Madami, New York City mayor. The end of New York City as a haven for capitalistic investment is going to happen, and the market traders will be the first group of companies and people to leave New York City and flee to safer havens. And then over the next 4 years, there'll be a mass exodus of upper and middle class households, leaving for less political discorded states and political values. They're just going to be looking either for, states that have a moderate Democrat or moderate Republican territories. They're sick of New York and being caught in the middle. The die has been cast, and the Democrats have now shown all America where it's headed around the country. They are supporting a socialist Democrat, which is a nice way of calling him a communist. And he'll jump up and down. I'm not a communist. He's a communist. Take my word for it. This guy's a communist. New York-based companies will be moving out as soon as possible, leaving just service providers such as some food stores, some retailers, restaurants catering to the higher end of New York City dwellers will, of course, be forced to close. Those people are going to be leaving. Tourism and the drop of tourism will take place no matter what. It's gonna happen. And of course, less visitors mean less use for labor. You're not going to need hotel staff. You're not going to need car services, Ubers, yellow cabs, and other industries that are dependent on what is called walk-in traffic. That's going to be gone. New York City will be the new Cleveland. All right. Now, how is Madani going to pay for all these free things that he's talking about? Certainly, insurance costs for landlords is not going down. Electric rates for landlords are not going down. Taxes for landlords will certainly not be going down. Yet they won't be able to increase, their rents. Everything will be frozen by Mamdani, and this is going to be his answer. It's going to be taxation. He's going to tax people coming into the city. If you're a worker who lives outside jurisdictions of the 5 boroughs, you will be taxed. The employer hiring people who are not New York City residents, they'll be taxed. And this will also come down to if you're a civil servant, you will have to pay more because you are not part of New York City. With a big hit, and he's definitely going to go this way because others have talked about doing this. It's not just him, but he will press it and force it in. He has a rubber stamp, or will have a rubber stamp. He's going to start taxing banking transactions, and I just don't mean, if the Bank of New York or decides to make an investment and move money around. I'm going to be talking about people who have X amount of dollars in the bank being charged a fee for doing business with a bank in New York City. And businesses depositing money, moving money, they're going to be taxed on those transactions. And not taxed, but going to have to pay a fee through these banks. Banks, stocks being purchased by individual investors or investment companies that are doing business inside of New York City through Wall Street or whatever, they're going to be taxed. And it's not going to be a little tax either. So you're going to have these businesses that are affected by a communist, that they're going to be moving their whole central platforms away, not only from New York City, but from the United States. And we'll go to safer havens. And believe it or not, that's going to be Dubai, who's already set up and has everything ready to go as a contingency if something bad would happen in New York. In a flick of a switch, it would be in Dubai, ready to go. So Mamdani's only solution is taxation. He's going to tax people coming into the city via roads. You'll be given like an easy pass, and you'll have to pay if you're not a New York City resident. And forget about, from 34th Street to 59th Street as being, the super taxation area. It's just going to be just getting into New York City by a vehicle. If you're coming to a show, and this will all be the breakdown of New York, the New York City, and the people that live here that have apartments, And it will go by, oh, if you're paying X amount of dollars, you're rich, so you're going to have to pay more. And it won't be taxation; it will be a fee. Oh, I didn't raise your taxes. I just applied a fee. And this is what's going to take place. There's just no way it's not going to happen. Um, this guy has so little experience, other than, saying, I'm going to do this for free and you're going to get all this stuff for free. How are they going to pay the bus drivers, the maintenance on the buses? How are they going to do the roads? How are they going to pay firemen and policemen? It's going to be through taxation. And the people that are going to be living for free, you think they're going to be paying a tax? Um, uh, it is so. There is no plan. I haven't heard him say yet how he's going to do all this. And the media's, sitting there, yay, oh, look at him. Oh, yeah, he's for the people. And again, not for the people. He's already said, you know who he's for? Muslims. He's come out and said it. I'm tired of seeing Muslims being treated bad. They weren't treated bad. They want to force their way of life onto us. Instead of assimilating into our culture, they want us to assimilate into their culture. So this guy is the biggest liar. And I would have to say New York City voters are probably the stupidest voters and most uneducated and most dependable of making the wrong choice 90% of the time. This guy is going to make the Mayor Dinkins administration look good. And you don't see it coming. Everyone else sees it coming. I mean, the fact that you had a Cuomo who had the arrogance to think that he could win. He lost the primary and then running as an independent. It's not going to work. You had Curtis Sliwa, who has tried and tried and tried and tried. And, he's about law enforcement and anti-crime and quality of life issues, where that's not a case in 80% of the neighborhoods in Manhattan. Queens, the Bronx, they're all crime-ridden. They make their money from crime. You think they want an anti-crime guy? No. They don't want him. They don't want the police in their neighborhood. But for the average worker that has to travel through those neighborhoods from the outer boroughs and from, like Nassau County and Connecticut and New Jersey coming into the city to work, it's going to be like getting into Fort Apache. You're going to have to fight your way in and fight your way out. How long before companies, and people start saying, hey, I don't want to work here? And companies go, this is just not a place where we can do business and bring people in here. And they'll be gone. They'll be gone. And they might take some of those employees with them and go, hey, we're moving to South Carolina, we're moving to Georgia, we're moving to Florida, we're moving to Texas, we're moving to states where you know, we feel that we can get a good shake and our people are safe. This is what's going to happen. And you're going to lose restaurants. You're going to lose, like I said, the walk-in industry. You walk down the street, you stop at the deli, you boom, boom, you do this, you buy a newspaper on the way home, uh, you know, you pick up flowers and you go home. That's going to be gone. People aren't going to do it. The companies are not going to be able to have their people safe, and they're going to be taxed. And companies are just going to say, hey, it's not worth it. New York City was always a showcase place to be, always a place where you wanted to, uh, you know, the hub of our system of government, uh, which is based on capitalism. And now you have a person that is anti-capitalism. How do you think that's going to work for the city and for businesses? You think that's going to work out well? Do you? I have gone from being a conservative to almost being a savage conservative, because everything that is being done to hurt people who work. Now, you could be a Republican and be in a union. As long as that party wants jobs in America, you have the opportunity to have a union. You don't have a job, or there is no job, what do you need a union for? It doesn't do anything for you. And you have the Democrats who have been anti-union the last 16 to 20 years. And even before that. I mean, I don't totally blame Bill Clinton for NAFTA, even though he signed that into existence because he was jammed up. But NAFTA, we knew that those jobs were going to go away. How couldn't they go away? So, originally they went to Mexico, and Mexico prospered for a little while. Then they went to China and Vietnam and other places where it was even cheaper labor. The Democrats have been behind the fall of the United States. These people and there are some really good Democrats in Congress. There are some really good Democrats in the Senate that do speak for all the people in their districts and their states. They really do. They're not just a Democrat. They are the representative. And hats off to them. And the same thing, we've got Republicans the same way. And but a lot of Democrats are so two-faced and can't be trusted. And that's the big problem that Trump has with them. When they said, oh, we'll work with them, and then they were sticking daggers in him. And he's not going to work with you again. Trump is, look at his business model. You screw me, I screw you 5 times. You hit me with a punch, I'll hit you with 5 punches back. And the Democrats are still clueless after 15 years of Trump. Are clueless how to deal with him. Now Schumer, honestly knew how to deal with him. He did. He was the only one maybe there that could have cut a deal for for a budget. But no one would have that. You had your AOCs, you had your Bernie Sanders, you have your Warrens, you have your Pelosi's, you have your Waters, uh, you, you have your Greens who hate Donald Trump, who hate America. They truly do. They hate America for everything it stands for. And they want to see it changed. So these people are very dangerous. Pelosi's gone. I mean, she's a babbling drunk. Warren is just about gone. Sanders is just about gone. But AOC is not. And the squad, they're sitting around. They're just waiting. They get this guy in. And that's going to be the model. See how good that is? See how good it's working out? Well, it's not. I think that when New York is then laid bare on how much little money they have, how corrupt the whole system has been. New York has always been corrupt. I don't care if it was Republican or Democrat sitting there. And you're going to have a Trump who goes, I ain't giving you a freaking dime. You think Trump is going to help New York? Letitia James. You think Trump is going to help you, Cuomo? Maybe if Cuomo would win by some miracle, it's not going to happen. But your party didn't even support you. And honestly, the Republicans did not support Curtis Sliwa. That's not who they wanted to represent them, and no one was going to run in New York City. It's blue. It's going to be blue. They know it, and they didn't want to take the loss with it. So, but Democrats are more enthusiastic about the midterms as Trump's approval hits a second-term low, CNN poll finds. If you think that Donald Trump's numbers are down, you're only going to blue states and asking the question. Or blue cities. Trump's approval rating, any politician would be happy with it. CNN continues its lies. It continues, the bending of the truth. And then 1 year from the midterm elections, the Democratic Party holds a sizable enthusiasm advantage as views of President Trump dip. Enthusiasm doesn't win races. It doesn't. It's a stupid article. It's nonsense. It's more shit on a plate that they're feeding their own people. And the people are going, more please. More please. Moderate Democrats, you got to get out of there. Listen to Fetterman. Got to get out of there. You got to get out of that party. If you can't change it, you got to leave it. It's that simple. And if I hear any more people talk to me about democracy, I had talked with people over the last 9 days, and nice people, educated people, And they keep throwing the term democracy out. And I have to stop them. I go, we're not a democracy. Well, what do you mean we're not a, of course we're I go, no, we're not a democracy. We're a republic. And if you look up the difference between a democracy and a republic, you would much rather have a republic. Because in a pure democratic system, the people can vote. 51% or 50 plus one vote would win. Might be able to get slavery back. Might be able to outlaw abortions everywhere. Might be able to outlaw LGBTQ. Might be able to make murder legal. That's democracy, folks. We don't have that. We elect people to represent us for a term, and then they make their decisions. Now, we could have some democratic type processes like voting. One person, one vote. And voting by representation. Oh yeah, no, we don't have that, right? Because under the 1965 Voting Rights Act, they were allowed to carve off sections just for certain people. Well, that's going away. So the use of democracy used by a lot of people on both sides, Republicans and Democrats. They don't know what the word means or the process. I'll take that back. They understand what the word means. They don't understand how the process is applied to our system of government. So, in a news survey, 41% of Americans say they felt hesitant to share their political views in public. And they are significantly more likely than others to expect political motivated violence to increase. Now, we have seen that. We have seen political violence. The shooting in Minnesota of two political people was not political violence. There was a vendetta there. And you see how all of a sudden they're not talking about that now. Not talking about that now. And when the president was shot, and then almost shot again, and of course Charlie Kirk, that was because of their rhetoric. So what they're trying to do, the Democrats were trying to justify the actions of people who are violent. So who do you think is more apt to accept violence as a form of political change? Republicans? I don't think so. Democrats? Yep. Because they sit there and condone it. Bob in New York, you call me and tell me I'm wrong. And you could tell me I'm wrong. You're going to have to prove it. Because the facts show differently. And that's just in Bob in New York. So, Senator Kane, Virginia. At the opening of this program, I said he might be the stupidest senator. He's up there. He is up there. And he goes, I don't look at the shutdown as being politics. And what the Democrats have gained from the shutdown. What have they gained from the shutdown? We're focused on the American people. We want President Trump to stop firing people, concealing and canceling economic development projects. We want him to stop it. Yet, the Democrats, with the help of Schumer, voted in the big, beautiful bill. Inside the big, beautiful bill, in there, it was explained exactly how we were going to achieve financial stability in our government. And now, Kane is saying, I know what we agreed about, but we want to spend more taxpayers' money without any monitoring of it, like we've done in the past. That's what this idiot is saying. Senator Kane. The Democrats are dangerous. There are some Democrats that are extremely, extremely dangerous. You have Senator Rand Paul, who won't take the full click of the Republican side. And at least with him, when he speaks, you might want to look into what he's saying and what he's complaining about. Inside why he said, I won't go with this. Because it might not take the long game into account. And for people that stay successful, they don't look at the short game. They don't look at a short game. They look at they look at the whole game, from beginning to what they see as the end. Not, well, we'll just play, the first inning and see what happens in the second inning. Or, the first quarter is what, we're going to concentrate on, and then I don't know what we'll do up to the fourth quarter. You don't win games that way. And the same is true in politics. You have to look at the long game. So when Rand Paul brings something up, and you go, this freaking guy is saying, you got to take a look at what he's looking at and what he's speaking about. And then you might go, yeah, I understand, but none of us are going to make it to the long end of this game. We're just trying to survive right now and get through this, and we'll figure it out. But it is in the right direction. We're moving the ball closer to the goal. We know we're not going to get to the goal on this, but we are going to move it closer and pick up downs. And you could look at it that way too. And, make your choice. But Kane is an idiot. Raskin is another. What a moron. I tell you, there's a few Democrats, and of course Fetterman stands out there as being probably the most solid of the Democrats, saying, hey, this is not the direction we should be taking. And he goes, if the people of New York New York City want a socialist, democratic, communist, he didn't say communist, I said that, then that's what the people of New York want, but we shouldn't take that as the model of what every Democrat wants. It's not looking at the long game here. And he's absolutely correct. He makes sense. Your AOCs, they're looking for one thing only. They want to do away with America as it is known, and they want it replaced. Most people who are just working every day and trying to put a roof over their heads, feed their families, fill up their car, they're hoping that someone else takes on that fight. You're going to have to take that fight on. And you're going to have to make sure that you vote and you vote no against any of these Democrats. And I'm not saying that, just keep voting red or whatever. I'm not a fan of all one color. But the Democrats that I'm seeing now that are getting the majority of their teeth into the meat, they're dangerous people. They're danger to our way of life. They're they're a danger to this republic. All right. Trump administration cites widespread misuse of SNAP as funding lapses during the shutdown. Now, sure, I would agree that there are lots of fraud going on in SNAP. I have witnessed it. I would go into bodegas in Manhattan and the bodega owner will $7 for an apple, $6 for a banana, and he'd get handed a 16-ounce tall boy and a pack of cigarettes. And it went on EBT. You don't think that doesn't happen? I watched in Manhattan people go into a food store with EBT, come out with some pieces of meat, and there's people waiting to buy that piece of meat. If it was a $12 piece of meat, they give them $6 or $5 in cash. Saw that every day. Walking down 59th Street, or actually 57th Street. Saw it every day. So, yes, is there fraud going on in SNAP? Yes. But it also helps a lot of people that need help. So, you don't throw the baby out with the wash. You fix the system. And I think America wants a better system of monitoring benefits and who's getting those benefits. I think that is where where people are saying, "Hey, I have no problems with people being helped, but I don't want to see people just helping themselves to my money and not even trying to get themselves out of their situation." And some people, are in situations that just can't be helped. And they need help. It's just the way it is. And you could say, well, they put themselves there. They did this. Yes, you could say all that. But still, at the end of the day, they got to eat. And, that's fine. I can get there with that, if the benefits are using exactly for what they were intended to be used. And then we find out that Social Security and FEMA were being used for the housing of the illegals, who then they said, well, they're not illegals because we made them parolees. No such word. There is a word for temporary protection status for certain people, and those people, yeah, you could help those people. No problem with that. But not everyone was falling under those guidelines. It was open to interpretation. There was never anyone questioning what, you came from Guatemala. Yeah, there's crime there. But well, there's crime right down the street from me. So, yeah, you fix your crime in your country. Oh, you can't? Well, then you got a problem with your country. You come here, you could ask for permission to come into our country if you want to immigrate here. But you're not automatically, you get on the bandwagon. And that's what was happening. That's what Obama was doing, and that's what Biden was doing. It was allowing these people, just give them all the same status, give them a status. Oh, their status. What are you talking about? They're not illegals. Well, well, we haven't gotten to their cases yet because we brought in 30 million of them. You couldn't do, not enough courts, not enough hours in the day to do it. So they gamed the system. That's where America is concerned about. So that these illegals and people that should not even be on the system are getting on a system through a back door. And that's the whole idea of where the Democrats are screaming, this is about, Trump is trying to stop health care for everyone. No, he's not. The Republicans never said they had a problem with helping people that need help. American citizens, people here legally, that have a legitimate status to be here. We just don't want the money going through a back door. And the Democrat goes, oh, then we're not doing that. But you look at what they want in it, and it's a back door. And they refuse to get off of it. So Trump has said, hey, you agree to this, we'll talk about that. We can address your concern of Obama unaffordable health care. We can talk about that. But you gotta agree to what you agreed to in the big beautiful bill and pay it forward. If you don't, not gonna happen. And he'll wait. He will wait. So, Democrats, you got to get on board here. If you don't, you're doomed. Honestly, you're doomed. You could call yourself the Socialist Democrats, but you can't call yourself a Democrat. All right. Let's continue the bashing. And I do bash Republicans when I see it. All right, 2 men charged in Detroit area terrorism plot after Halloween arrests. So these 2 individuals were allegedly ISIS sympathizers and were scouting out LGBTQ targets in and around the Detroit, Dearborn area, which if you don't understand, if you've never been to the Detroit, Dearborn area, 90% of the signage is in Arabic. It's been the largest Arabic Muslim population since the early 70s, late 60s, and never a problem. No problems in those neighborhoods, no craziness. You're not seeing people, doing wacky things, or at least I've never heard of it. And I've been there, and it's been very pleasant and nice and not a problem. And so I would not target the whole area and say, "Oh, look, it's the Muslims." No, it was 2 people who are alleged to be Muslims who allegedly tried to carry out a terrorist attack. 2 people out of millions. Let's not call it a thing. And these are young people who are influenced, but they were captured. And, they'll have their day in court. People are saying, well, we don't believe it. We don't trust what the government is saying. Oh, that's fine. They'll have their day in court. So, and that's making headlines because you have New York City in play. more about the election. Of course, Jay Jones of Virginia running for Attorney General. And there's some people saying he stands a shot at doing it. No, that was not a pun, because this guy, Jones, had text people saying how he wished that the incumbent, Jason Miyares, a Republican, that he could shoot him 2 bullets in his head and then shoot his children too. Now he came out, he apologized for texting that, and I shouldn't have done that and stuff. But that's the thinking. Can you imagine running for an office and saying that? Now, and I said this before in other podcasts, where you had Trump say, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and not lose a vote. I did not think that was a wise thing to say, but he didn't say I could shoot a political leader. He didn't say I could do this as a political motivation. Jay Jones said it as a political motivation murder. And then the murder of this man's family, which is exactly how Democrats think. And that's where I said the violence of the Democrats. They try to justify their actions. All right? New Jersey governor elections just one day away. And the latest polls are showing that it's too close to call. Mikey Sherrill and Jack Serratelli. I think the Republican's going to win. Just saying. I think the Republican is going to win that race. I think the Republican will win in Virginia too. I can't see Jay Jones winning, but you never know. You just don't know. Some of these people should not have been running in the first place. But here they are. In New Jersey, Mikey, she just uses media talking points and doesn't really give answers. She just is a parrot. Repeats things over and over again. But again, she's a Democrat, and they're looking, I'm going to help all these people. I'm going to give you all this stuff. I'm going to free. And we're going to stop that evil Donald Trump. Well, that evil Donald Trump was voted in by the people. Now, the states are states, and there are differences. But as a governor, she's not going to stop the president. A senator or representative can stop the president. She can't. She's just the head of her state. She could run and stop legislators, and she could have some influence over state senators, in the state, not in the Senate, in the Congresses. There's just a lot of mistrust. And I think that for the Democrats, a win there for them in New York will just be a disaster. An outright disaster. I don't think, I think it will just be disaster. I don't even see him finishing his term. I think he will be arrested for crimes that they already know he did and falsehoods he's made on applications. So I think the Republicans are hoping he wins, just so they could bring him down and saying, see how they falsify, see how they game the system. I don't think that's right, too. I don't think that's fair to the voters. I don't think it's fair to the people of New York City, to let him go knowing we're going to pull him down. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's the right thing to do. That's not how I like politics. I like people going out there and giving, uh, uh, you know, reasonable answers to problems. Not just, I wish everyone got, peace and love together and no one went to sleep hungry and everyone had a roof over their. Yeah, that's all wonderful, and I get that, and we all have that wish. But somehow you have to have a plan to make that all happen. And taking away from one people to give to another people is not really a good way to go. But- and that's not the answer. The answer might be, hey, we're going to have to cut some other services to give other services the money. So you're going to have less firemen and less policemen, because really, what else are you going to cut? You're going to have less subways? Well, if you have less people working, you might say, well, cut the subways. Maybe we don't need as much trash pickup. Cut their jobs. Cut the park department jobs. And maybe we need more policemen then to make sure the crime is down and maybe attract businesses back that have fled or are thinking of leaving because they're afraid of crime. But see, they will never do that, because that would admit that either their policies have failed or their policies never had the ability to succeed, other than just wishing. And that was Harris. Remember Harris? Hopes and dreams. Well, hopes and dreams are little girls with a chest that they put stuff into. See how many of those success stories worked out. So, I will not be surprised by election results tomorrow. I mean, I would be floored if Cuomo won. He doesn't stand a chance. Even if Curtis Sliwa would have said, "Okay, I'm out of the race. I can get behind Cuomo because he wants to do this," it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. These are Democrats fighting Democrats, and Curtis Sliwa was a Republican, and the Republicans just wouldn't vote. And unless the Republicans all come out and vote for Cuomo, I can't see him winning. And he's not a liked person in New York, so can't see how it worked out. All right, everyone. I'm going to call this 55 minutes of me just ranting on the Democrats, which I love doing. Again, if you're joining me and you've made it this far, you know that at the end of my shows, I always ask people to give to a charity of their choice. Excuse me, I get choked up. You choose the charity. Don't have that charity come to you. You do your research on that charity. Don't become a victim trying to help victims. If you're not comfortable with that, I can certainly understand people not being comfortable giving to a charity. Give to a food bank. Bring food. You don't have to bring money. Go to the store, buy one, get one free, buy two, get three free, or whatever. Do that. If you're going to use the product, not give them all five or, whatever. And anything you give them is appreciated. And you go, well, I only got 5 cans or 10 cans or, whatever. And you go, what is that really going to do? And I go, to a person that has no cans, that means a lot. So think about it. Just think about it. Say a prayer. Prayer does work, regardless what a Democrat will tell you. And I've had people ask me, why do I always say that? And I give them an answer. I'm not telling you. You have to ask me. And with that, peace and love. Get out there and vote. Do not sit home and not vote. It's important. And like I said, you might not like the 2 people that are running. Pick the one you dislike the least and vote. Because if you don't vote, whoever you disliked more, that's the person who gets your vote then. Because there was no one voting against him. Think of it that way. All right, and with that, I am going to fade to